Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, good morning and welcome to the Hump Day edition of the JP Peterson Show. Peter Blake joining me this morning. We got lots to get to. Bucs news. Who the hell is going to be the offensive coordinator on this team? Do we know? Do we have one? More guys saying yes, more guys saying no to interviews. We're going to do a little Rays talk today as well. Greg Auman's going to join us from Fox Sports to talk about the OC job and who's going to get it. I'm struggling here this morning, Peter. I got coughs. I got a little stuffy head going on like everybody else. You do too?
Yeah, I do. And I tell you right now, I went to go see your doctor yesterday, Mr. Chris Lugo, Bay Area Modern Medical, to get my diagnosis. I took your advice. I wrote it down, even wrote down the address, the phone number.
That's how you do it.
Like you taught me. So we're getting fixed up here. But good morning, JP. Happy Hump Day. And, of course, all eyes right now in the Bay Area on the Bucs, as Bucs fans do this every year. The sky is falling. The sky is falling with who are they going to hire as their offensive coordinator. Dave Canales is rating this staff. And my question is, or my comment to the Bucs fans out there, the Bucs Nation, relax. They got this. Just relax. Put on your seatbelt. Sit back. It may be a little bumpy ride here. But Jason Light, Todd Bowles, they know what they're doing. And the outrage and some of the fans of how they think about Todd Bowles, how no coach wants to coach under Todd Bowles. It may not be a great fit, guys. Not every big name that you like that's on Madden is the right choice. So let's see what the Bucs do. I have a feeling they're going to hire Alex Van Pelt here in the next couple of days. I hope it's today, JP. You know why? Because I actually get a chance to sit home. They called me back to the office last week, so this has kind of been a transition period for me. I can't get on social media, do my thing. So I hope I get a chance to report on this today, or actually today. I hope it's today. So we'll see what happens.
Well, yeah, Alex Van Pelt looks like looks like the only one interested in the job. I mean, Jared Johnson said he's going back to the Texans. Did the interview. Now, that might have been a situation where the Bucs interviewed him and said, we like you. Thanks for doing the interview. We have some other candidates we still need to talk to. And maybe he got a feeling that, Thad Lewis or Alex Van Pelt is their top choice.
Maybe.
A lot of these guys interview just to interview, and they don't want, they don't want to lose their job either, with the Texans. So that, it's kind of a tight wire when you're in that situation, when you're trying to move up, because, teams have to cover their butts, right? They have to, if you're going to go, they got to find somebody to replace you, and they got to move now. So it's a bit of a tight wire act for all these coaches. You got to put your name in, take your name out. Ben Johnson, interesting to note that, the two hottest names going into this coaching cycle with 8 vacancies were who? Ben Johnson, Lions OC, and Bobby Slowick, Texans OC. Neither one of them get jobs and stay where they're at. Interesting. The other two hot names, Bill Belichick and Mike Vrabel. Where are they? I mean, this has been a bizarre round of head coaching hires, and thus OC hires, especially. And by the way, and we love Dave Canales. He had a great year here. Hard not to like the guy. He's fantastic, very positive, very charismatic. We wish him the best. That said, that offense was bottom third of the league, barely, but 21st in the league in scoring. Okay. The run game was dead last again for the second straight year. And people are freaking out because we're losing our run game coordinator and offensive line coach. We'll be okay. Yeah. We can do better than last.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, what do we, those guys, the problem was they kept those guys last year. Great, nice guys, Joe Gilbert, Harrigan, great guys, nothing personal, but this is a performance league. And if your job is run game coordinator and you're last in the league, you're not doing a good job. I mean, this is not hard to figure out. We can find other people. I heard, somebody mention, hey, if Ryan Jensen can't play, he'd be a heck of an assistant offensive line coach. I would agree with that. Talk about setting a tone. Talk about setting a tone, and the guy knows what's up. Yeah. And by the way, Ryan hasn't retired, so who knows what's going on with that knee. He could come back. That would be a huge plus for the Buccaneers, no question about it.
Right.
Bucs Basement says, can Canales take Keith Armstrong?
Listen, Bucs Basement, you got to give us a loan here. How much money did you win on that Canales bet?
Oh, that's right.
He put that out there, and the odds at the time were something like 1,800 to 1, and he won $100. So I want to know how.
Don't forget to go to the JP Peterson link tree where you can donate to the show. We'd be happy to, be happy to accept some of your brilliant winnings there. My God.
I'm telling you. But everybody thought, Ben Johnson was going to go to Washington. I think Sison said it was a lock. Not so fast, because the rumor around the league was, $15 million. Well, somebody's not willing to pay that. So guess what? The Lions now have their offensive coordinator back. You talk about the Houston Texans. How impressive was, Bobby Slowick? But it seems like they got something special going on with the Lions, and of course the Houston Texans with the rookie coach, a rookie quarterback, and they kind of want to finish that. So, look for them to probably be the AFC, one of the dark horses or the contenders next year with the way Stroud has played. So it is a weird coaching cycle. Who thought that Bill Belichick, it looked like it was a lock that he was going to get the Atlanta Falcons job. And guess what? Guess who basically kind of blocked that deal?
Rich
McKay.
Yeah,
Rich McKay.
Yeah. Well, listen, Rich McKay was, we can always say that he was wrong about sticking to his guns with Marvin Lewis.
Yeah.
And the Glazers obviously outvoted him and went and got John Gruden. We don't know if Marvin Lewis would have won a championship with the Buccaneers. I doubt it.
I don't think so.
I doubt it.
Right. But, look what he did with the Bengals.
So was Rich McKay right? No, he wasn't in that situation. So we'll see. But it's a weird coaching situation right now. So here the Bucs sit. Alex Van Pelt is certainly a quality candidate. He's worked with Baker. My problem with that is, obviously he's bringing in a different system for everybody else to learn. Baker would know it, and it would have some recall in that system that he flourished in. They made the playoffs. They won a playoff game. Now, I don't think Alex Van Pelt was calling the plays that year. So, but he was the offensive coordinator. So he's worked with Baker. Thad Lewis has never called plays before, but then again, neither had Dave Canales, and everybody, loves him. Sure. So I think you just got to see the potential in the person. And I think, Peter, what you said is spot on. I don't know Thad Lewis that well. I'm not going to sit here and go to the mat and say that he's definitely the guy. I don't know him that well. I'm going based on what a lot of people say about him. Done a few interviews with him. Very impressive young man. Seems like he's got a lot of the charisma that a Dave Canales has. I think, in my gut is he'd be a pretty good hire. But there's a learning curve in terms of calling plays. That wouldn't necessarily be the case with Van Pelt. So, to me, a lot of this is about continuity, and that's what I would like to see. And I think that's where Thad Lewis would be a good choice. Now you got a couple other places to fill holes, and I think that's a good thing because, again, these guys weren't getting the job done on the offensive line or in the run game. Bring in some new blood, some new ideas, get rid of that freaking zone blocking scheme, that, especially in middle runs, that never works. Never. We have an athletic group of offensive linemen that can pull and move and do a lot of innovative things that Canales had them doing. That was clearly the best part of this run game when we were moving our guys around, screens, etc. This is a very athletic group of guys. So let's get them out in space and have them move people. Zone blocking is not their forte. Got to get, you got to upgrade at center. You got to upgrade at left guard. So I think, offensive line is obviously a huge part of this. And I think these two openings could bring some promise and go get some fresh blood. And I think, Ryan Jensen is not a bad idea. If the guy can't play, we got to pay him anyway.
Well, A.Q. Shipley also has been mentioned.
A.Q. Shipley. There's another great name, bring me some young blood and some fire. Yes. By the way, how about some fire on this coaching staff?
Right.
There's a couple of guys that'll bring some attitude, right? Mm. So I think there's an opportunity here to do some great things on the offensive side. I would not be crying in my beer and all this, nobody wants to work for Bowles. No. People want to work with Baker. But here's the other part. Baker Mayfield's not under contract.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm starting to hear whispers about, oh, what are the Pittsburgh Steelers looking at? They're looking for a quarterback. If you're Baker Mayfield and you're like, wow, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin, physical team, got some weapon. That looks like a nice option. Of course, that's not a team that's, how much are they willing to pay? We'll see.
Sure.
What are the Falcons doing at quarterback? There's a leverage point for Baker Mayfield and his agent. A lot of talk about Justin Fields going there, and I think that's their play. Quite frankly, they screwed up not drafting the kid. Now they have an opportunity to get him back.
Completely agree.
And that to me, you put him in an offensive system similar to the Rams that, they've hired Zach Robinson, Raheem Morris. That whole staff comes in there now. You got Justin Fields. You've got Drake London. You've got Kyle Pitts. You've got Bijan Robinson. Wow. Okay. Like, wow. I don't, if I'm Todd Bowles, that's a lot of talent to defend right there, especially in the run game. What the hell am I doing with Justin Fields and Bijan Robinson in the run game? Not to mention 1,000-yard rusher and Tyler Algiers.
That's scary.
Yeah. Atlanta's got some ballers now. Yeah. Atlanta's got some players, and that suddenly they get a quarterback. Whew. Yeah, you know what? That team scares me, and they already have a top 10 defense.
Kirk Cousins.
Or they get Kirk Cousins.
Yep.
If they get a quarterback, that team's scary. So if you're the Buccaneers, suddenly the NFC South can get, the Panthers. God bless Dave Canales. He's got a lot of work ahead of him. So, and the Saints, I think they're more of in decline than anything. So to me, if you're the Bucs, you're looking at the Falcons right now as the team you got to match up against, and you better be good up front and at linebacker to match up with that group of guys I just talked about in the run game. So yeah, it's going to get, the NFC South is not going to stay down for long. So the Falcons have an opportunity if they're to get Justin Fields, or what if they, if they were to take Baker Mayfield away, you're sitting here holding your junk with Kyle Trask.
Right. And I'll continue to say this. A lot of people say, well, maybe this, the Bucs job isn't as attractive as we think it is. And I would say this. Well, there's only one quarterback right now that's under contract. That's Kyle Trask. So all the fans screaming for Kyle Trask to get that chance, maybe the coaches around the league are telling you basically, we don't really think too highly of Kyle Trask the last 2 years. I'm just saying. And with that being also said, what if I told you that the Bucs have all the leverage at this point because Baker doesn't want to go anywhere else? And then furthermore, they are consulting him along with Mike Evans, which both of those players said they want to play together next year. What if they're consulting Baker Mayfield on who do you want to be the offensive coordinator? What if they have a handshake agreement with Baker Mayfield on an extension? And everybody's just assuming that Baker, wants to break the bank, if you will. Say that 3 times, right? Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he wants to take less money.
He'd be stupid to be chasing money right now. That would be dumb.
Right.
In my opinion.
Because you can keep everybody in the fold. And look, the Bucs have all these decisions to make in the offseason, not just Mayfield, but of course, Mike Evans and Antoine Winfield Jr. and possibly re-signing a Tristan Wirfs and Levante David and a Chase McLaughlin. And I get it, it's a kicker, but it's still an important position. But you want to keep that core together. And again, I go back to those comments of Mayfield wanting to play with Evans, Evans wanting to play with Mayfield. Everybody's saying, this quarterback, he's not good. 34 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. It's pretty damn good, especially, counting that postseason, JP.
Yeah. If I'm Mike Evans, I want the guy that I know. If you want to give up on Baker Mayfield, well, who's coming in? Is it going to be Michael Penix? Okay. I mean, but I still don't know how he's going to be as a professional. I don't know that.
Right.
I know what Baker Mayfield, there's obviously with a rookie, there's going to be a learning curve, if you're a receiver. So there's a lot of different things that go into it. I think a lot of people would like to know, that like the continuity, no question about it. They would like continuity. And that's where Thad Lewis, Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, but look, it's early in the process. Am I impatient? Yes. I would like the Baker Mayfield extension to happen now. I would like the Mike Evans extension to happen now. I would like all these things to happen now, but we're very early in the process. after Super Bowl, let some things shake out. But, part of the problem with an offensive coordinator here is the first question he's going to have is, who's your quarterback? You think it's Baker Mayfield, but you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a somewhat lame duck coach. Let's just be honest. You don't know who is going to be your quarterback for sure. You don't know if Mike.
Kyle Trask.
You don't know if Mike Evans is coming back for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got a lot of hopes and dreams and thoughts, but I mean, if you're interviewing right now, what answers do the Bucs have for you as what you're working with? Not much.
Right.
Not much. They can tell you they think we got this, they think we got that, but right now it's kind of a weird. I mean, just think about sitting down. What questions do you have for us, Mr. Van Pelt, Mr. Lewis? Who's our quarterback?
We got the greatness of Kyle Trask from the University of Florida.
What's the receiver situation look like? Gaping hole. It's a gaping hole.
You got Chris Godwin there. You got Mike Evans, free agent situation.
We got Chris Godwin and Trey Palmer. Okay. What about your offensive line?
Whoa.
Not bad, but we've got some holes and no coaches.
The best left tackle.
You can bring your offensive line in. You can bring your offensive line coach and your run game coordinator, so you can do that. So, I mean, right now, there's a lot of uncertainty if you're a Bucs fan. But I think I'll go back to what you said, Peter. In Jason Light, we trust. Mm-hmm. He's done a great job putting this whole thing together, from going to get Bruce Arians to landing Tom Brady to getting all those free agents. He's done a pretty good job. Let's getting this, drafting players, getting this team to the second round of the playoffs with $80 million in dead cap money and playing 13 rookies or whatever hell it was. They've done a great job. There's no reason why they shouldn't be able to bring back Mike Evans and Baker Mayfield and put the whole band back together. They've got the money to do it. They now have the salary cap money to do it. So they've got a lot of opportunity here. Let's get the job done. Let's get the job. They can't control how much money the Falcons are going to throw at Baker Mayfield. They can't control how much money the Steelers are going to throw at Baker Mayfield. They can't control any of that stuff. So there are some uncontrollables here, which is why I said in the week 16, 17, 18, even after the Saints debacle, get that deal done with Baker Mayfield, because today's price is going to be better than tomorrow's price. And I know they were trying to get a deal done with him, and there have already been extensive talks with Baker Mayfield, but the deal is not done, which tells me Baker's kind of sitting back going, maybe you need to sweeten the pot a little bit, boys.
Mm-hmm.
And that's his prerogative. He's earned that.
Sure.
You earn your leverage, and he earned his leverage. He absolutely 100% earned his leverage. So what's he going to do? What's he want to do? Because that's where it all starts. As much as we love Mike Evans, it starts with Baker Mayfield. You got to get him under contract. Listen, and these guys, their agents are coming here looking to make a hometown discount deal. That's not their job. Now, can we get there? Can we get to a reasonable number? Look, if Baker Mayfield's holding out for 5 years, $50 million guaranteed, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Not interested.
He's not
interested.
No.
You're not that great. He's a good quarterback, and he had a nice year. There's no question about it. But I'm not putting myself in Dak Prescott salary cap hell for a guy who had, a decent year.
And this is how you sell him on that. Okay, I'll be Jason Light or Mike Greenberg, which, by the way, fans should be excited about Mike Greenberg coming back, because eventually if Jason Light decides, you know what, I don't want to be the general manager of this team anymore, and again, I'm just looking to the future, he's your capologist. That brain trust over there, they work together. So that's one thing that the Bucs fans should be excited about. Furthermore, if I'm selling Baker Mayfield and he comes to the table to negotiate, I say this. Listen, we don't want to be Dak Prescott contract. We don't want to get rid of your number one wide receiver, which would be Mike Evans. We don't want to have an Aaron Rodgers contract where we have to get rid of Devontae Adams. That doesn't work. Here's what we can provide you. A $30 to $35 million deal. We get a chance to sign all of our guys back. It gives us flexibility. Plus, we are the franchise that when Brady was here, we went all in. Baker Mayfield, we have been loyal to you, unlike any other team out there. Maybe the Baltimore Ravens wanted you as a backup, but we've been loyal to you, Baker. We'll do everything we can to make this situation that much better. Think about it, Baker. We were only 1 game away from the NFC Championship and 2 games away from the Super Bowl. Let's get it done. Let's go.
Yeah, that's a powerful message. And again, I've said this before. If I'm Baker Mayfield, you've been through the hells. You've been to places where they didn't want you. They kicked you out of Cleveland. They booted you out of Carolina, for God's sakes. Out of Carolina.
Right.
Okay? You know what it feels to be rock bottom. That's rock bottom. And you came here. We embraced you, built you up. We have an opportunity now and a foundation to move forward as winners. We have a division championship. We've got a resume. Let's build on that. You want to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers? Okay. You don't know what that locker room's like. You don't know what working for Mike Tomlin's like. I think it would be pretty good, but you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what the attitudes are on those receivers. You don't know if your running back, is a knucklehead. You don't know any of that stuff. You don't know how you're going to be received with, you're a former Cleveland Brown. Are they going to hug you up in Pittsburgh when you have 3 bad games? Probably not.
Nope.
Probably not.
Mm-mm.
But, you're going to go to Atlanta. Yeah, there's a lot of weapons there, but I don't know what it's like. He knows Raheem. He does know Raheem, right? So there's some familiarity there with the offensive coordinator. So Falcons may look good to him. There's some people he knows, right? He's got some weapons, and I would dare say probably overall better weapons than he would have in Tampa Bay. Dare I say? Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, we got White. You got White. You got Kate Otten. We can go out there. Again, I'm going to put it out there. We can get you a tight end maybe in free agency or the draft. We'll get you a better offensive lineman. That interior line is going to improve. Because we haven't.
And I'm going to say, look, Drake London is not better than Mike Evans. That's not what I'm saying.
No.
Okay. I'm saying these are younger players. Bijan Robinson, these are younger players that have room to grow. Sure. Whereas, Godwin and Evans I like it. For next year, I'd much rather have Evans and Godwin than London and Pitts. Absolutely. Next year. Sure. I mean, these are experienced players. No question about it. In the near term, yeah, the Bucs look great. There's a great opportunity. But I'm just saying Atlanta doesn't look bad. It's not a terrible situation if you're Baker Mayfield and you have options. So you have to, if you're the Buccaneers, you have to understand that. James said something that was interesting. He said, maybe the Bucs tried to lowball Baker and it didn't sit well with him.
Maybe they're just holding out.
And we could define lowball. If Jason Light's like, yeah, hey, we're going to give you $25 million a year, guaranteed for 3 years. Now, before the season, that wasn't a lowball offer. Right. After the season, is it, lowball offer is all in the name of the beholder, right? It's a perception. Before the season, that would have been a great offer. After the season, maybe not so much.
Sure.
And it doesn't matter because the leverage, the competition will decide what the number is, right? Mm-hmm. And and again, if I'm Baker Mayfield, do I want to go take an extra $7 to $10 million in Atlanta? If then stay here and try to build here? No, I don't want to do that because again, there's a lot of unknowns.
You have to start over again, and that's been for me the hindrance, if you will, of Baker Mayfield's career. Every time he has to reset, every time a new coach, every time a new offensive system. It's not just going to a team. You got to get accustomed to the city, and then on top of it, he has a wife here. He has a kid on the way. I mean, yeah, you take a little bit less, but you're comfortable in that situation. And I keep on going back to this where the Bucs have all the leverage. They let Baker be Baker. And Baker even said that during the bye week on the Pat McAfee show. They let him be him. How many teams are going to do that? I don't know. So I tell you what, let's go out to the phone lines here. Let me see if we can get out there. Let's see who this is. Welcome to the JP Peterson Show.
Hey, what's going on, man? This is Rubio again. Love your show, Peter. JP, I appreciate what you guys are doing. It's awesome, man. Go Bucs.
Yeah, go Bucs. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, my opinion, and, you guys are talking about Baker right now. And, in the beginning of the season when we brought him in, it was great. He came in here. Nobody wanted Baker. We took a chance on him, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely took a chance on him.
And now that we brought Canales in, I feel bad that Canales had to leave, even though I was really mad how he was running the offense. It was really predictable what the plays were going to be when we were playing, when we were watching the games during the season.
Right.
So I got a little bit upset about that because, a lot of people saw that too. And it was people getting upset about it. But we should have gave Canales a little bit more time, maybe another year to see what he would have came and done.
Well, I think what it comes down to is this Bucs team definitely wanted to give him the necessary time. They wanted to give him another year. But listen, this comes back to, if somebody wants to give you a promotion, say you're at a job, you may be happy at that job, but somebody says, you know what, Rubio, we're going to give you a raise. We're going to give you a higher position. You get an opportunity to be a head coach that, 31 other people don't have to have the opportunity to be. So you get that opportunity. Of course, you're going to take it, even though it's the Carolina Panthers, even though they're 2-15. It's the challenge. He's 41 years old. He showed flashes of brilliance. This offense in the second half of the year. So yes, the Bucs may have wanted to keep Dave Canales and they wanted to keep this staff together. But for me, I think, because this organization didn't block him from going somewhere else, that maybe they believe they can get better in some situations. And look, you look at the numbers at the end of the day, you're still last in the National Football League when it comes to rushing. You're middle of the road when it comes to offense overall. So can you get better? Absolutely. That's why I say Bucs fans, just relax a little bit. Just relax.
Absolutely, 100%.
We'll see what happens there. I mean, that's my pitch. If I was Jason Light to Baker Mayfield, for me, I think the Bucs have all the leverage. Now, maybe I'm the eternal optimist on this, but I really do feel like they do have the leverage here. And simply how you sell them on it is that we're still a playoff team. We can win the NFC South because it's a winnable division. And then furthermore, we can bring back all the guys that you want, Baker Mayfield. And
not only that, having 9 different coaches in the last 2 teams. Look what happened in Cleveland. It was a disaster. Yeah. I mean, they were in 2018, they were 0-16, or 2017, they were 0-16.
Yeah.
It was a terrible. This kid was the Heisman Trophy winner going into a disastrous organization.
Yeah.
And then he goes to the Panthers, which is, second. Obviously, they were the worst too. So people have to understand that, a lot of people talking about Baker. Baker is, and if I was in Baker's shoes, I would be thinking about all those things. I'm tired of going around, being thrown around like a rag doll. I'm a Heisman Trophy winner, right? He has that in his background.
Yeah.
And he's coming into a Buccaneer team who were supposed to not even be in the playoffs. Everybody in the NFC was laughing at us. If you saw Facebook, or you saw all these things about the 8 and 9 Buccaneers, they're trash. They're not going to be anywhere. And yet we go past we go past the Cowboys. We go past all these other teams. Man, if I was Baker Mayfield, I would stay right where I am. First of all, we live in Tampa. Who doesn't want to live in Tampa? That's number one.
Thank you. Let the truth set you free. Do you want to go live in Atlanta? Do you want to go
to Pittsburgh?
Chicago and Pittsburgh and all these teams that I don't think Chicago's looking for a quarterback. We don't know. But, there's teams out there. Minnesota. You want to go to Minnesota, live in the cold?
Yeah.
You want to go?
No, sir.
No. You want to live in Tampa. Here. Yes. Yes.
Baker's going to stay because, for one, he's tired of moving around.
Correct.
He actually has the driver's seat right now, and understand that he could take this team along. If we went already to the playoffs and we did what we did, and yes, we lost to a great Lions team, but don't get me, we didn't lose by much.
Yeah. Well,
we didn't lose by much.
You didn't lose by much. You weren't the better team. You have some improvements. There is some optimism, I think, more in this offseason than the last offseason. We'll see who they select as an offensive coordinator. Rubio, thanks a lot for the call here on the JP Peterson Show. Open phone lines. I'll rev it up for you. We'll have JP back after the break here. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk more with you Bucs fans on who's going to be the new offensive coordinator of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Are you panicking, Bucs fans, after all these moves here? Live on the JP Peterson Show. Keep it locked.
JP here for my friends at your local Synovus Bank, and I do mean friends, and I do mean local. One of the local managers in Tampa is John Acosta, big fan of the show, and I've known him for over 40 years. He's been in local banking since 1983. You talk about developing relationships. You don't stick around for that long unless you're doing things the right way and have a great reputation. And that's the focus company-wide at Synovus. Big enough to handle any complex international transaction, but small enough to answer the phone when you have an urgent question about your business or personal account. And for personal accounts, they have a very easy app that works great. You can do everything online. And for large or small businesses, you will get that personal touch and services to help build your business, taking your dreams and aspirations from the whiteboard to reality. We can make that happen. Let us show you how. For a get acquainted meeting to open a business or personal account, just call John or go to synovus.com to find out where your local branch is. All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA two-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or trying to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to geddesgordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com or call 813-485-6808.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
Back to the JP Peterson show. There's Mr. JP Peterson.
I'm back.
Hey,
I'm back.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Took a power hit on this beautiful day. Like,
yes. Yeah.
no weather issues, no nothing. Just pop, power hit. Maybe all these freaks in Florida running their heaters because it's 60 degrees outside.
I'm telling you.
Maybe it's a little colder than that.
Yeah,
yes,
a little bit. Maybe a little bit.
All right, we got Greg Auman aboard.
We do. We got him.
Oh, fantastic. From Fox Sports, covers the NFC South, been covering the Bucs forever. The great Greg Auman joining us here. Just got back from an event where Taylor Swift was there. Oh, my gosh, Greg, everybody wants to know. You were like 20 feet away from her. Was there an aura? Was there a halo around her? What did it feel like?
I mean, you definitely appreciate, how huge a star she is. And it's kind of cool that she's just there as a girlfriend, kind of supportive. I mean, Jim Harbaugh's the same way. Jim Harbaugh, won a national championship, just got an NFL coaching job. He's just hanging out, rooting for his brother.
So I hate to lead with Taylor Swift, but I mean, it is what it is, right? It's the world we live in. What was that whole situation like into security? Was it crazy, or did it just feel like a regular time out on the field after a game that you've done a million times?
No, it's definitely different. I mean, there's a security guy who's with her. If you look at the videos, there's this kind of bearded guy.
Yeah.
Just conveys very much a do not mess with me attitude. I had, and we were fortunate. I mean, she came on the field afterwards, so we were really close to where she is compared to most of these NFL games where they only catch her for a split second, ducking out with Kelsey or something. But there was a moment where there's a roped off area where the team kind of, is all the people are there as they do stuff on the podium to hand out the Lamar Hunt trophy. And there's a moment where Tony Romo, I guess, knows Taylor and goes to give her a hug. And there's like a split second where like the bodyguard guy isn't sure if Taylor's on board. And he like grabs Tony Romo's arm only a split second, but it's like, again, don't mess with this guy. Don't cross this guy. There's like a Secret Service, Mossad, extra level security of just eye intimidation going on there.
That's so interesting. I mean, because it's just a world that most of us are completely unfamiliar with. But it has been, an incredible boost to the NFL. Somebody said there was some what strategic economic group said it's brought $330 million of brand awareness. More female fans coming to the NFL. I don't know why someone would watch a game for 25 seconds of cutaways of Taylor Swift, but I guess that's what's going on.
You're a big Taylor Swift fan. That's her boyfriend. It's a reason to cheer for it. I mean, it's funny that you think, like, what could the NFL possibly do to increase its saturation? Like, how are there people that the NFL has missed?
Yeah.
As successful it is, this is how it happened. This is a crossover that, hits a lot of people that probably, watch the Super Bowl and not much else, or don't have but a very casual interest in the NFL.
Yeah.
And now, if she's at a game, I think the ratings certainly play out that people will watch. And I think, whatever the audience is for the Super Bowl in 2 weeks here is probably going to be record breaking with her part of that math.
It's interesting, not just the Chiefs games, but certainly the Chiefs games, all the games, including the Bucs games, have been record ratings. I mean, they're across the board. There's been a significant increase this year, correct?
Oh, yeah, they're doing very well. I mean, this is something where, immensely successful. I forget what it was, like 49 of the top 50 watched events of 2023 were NFL football games.
Yeah.
And it's like, you get excited about the Emmys or something, and like they got less than, whatever playoff game was that night. So even the biggest events that are non-sports, I think it definitely helps the live TV aspect of it, that this is something that you can't, really, record and avoid the commercials. They're the only live commercials you can really know that people are going to sit through, or maybe you go to the fridge or something. But I think from an advertising standpoint, it carries a lot of weight that way.
No question about it. All right, let's get to the really mundane stuff, like the Bucs offensive coordinator search. Where do you think that is right now? And there's a lot of perceptions going around that nobody wants the job, and you can make the case you don't have a quarterback. You don't know if Mike Evans is coming back. Bowles is not exactly the most secure coach in the world. Or you could, if you're Jason Light, you're selling, hey, we're getting Baker back. We're getting Evans back. We're putting the band back together. You have a great opportunity. The last guy was here for a year and got a head coaching job. So it seems it's a lot of different ways to look at this job. Where do you think it's at?
Yeah, it's one of those where it's only been literally 5 days since they lost Canales. So I think there's people freaking out. Like, if people say, oh, they got to do it today. They got to do something today. It's a weird dynamic because literally half the league is changing their offensive coordinator this offseason. It's 16 teams that'll have a new offensive coordinator this year.
Did not realize
in the entire legal cycle, all 32 teams, nobody's had the same offensive coordinator they had 3 years ago. So it's just, that side of the ball, insanely important and coveted. And basically, they're at this boiling point where you're either good enough to get promoted to be a head coach, or you're not good enough and you get fired. And there's not a whole lot in between. So, again, Canales is kind of an extreme example. But, here's a guy that, if he had stayed at Seattle and Pete Carroll is out, I don't even know where Dave Canales is coaching right now, if he has a job in the league. But because he took a leap and became a first-time coordinator and a first-time play caller, had what would be a good year, not an amazing year, did well in the interview, found the right job that other people didn't want. Now he's a head coach. There's only 32 of those. So like I said, they're kind of running their search here, simultaneous to I think it's 8 other teams that have openings right now. 2 of them are still trying to get their head coach, but they got to, I don't think they think of themselves as being the most coveted job of the ones that are left, but I think they'll be able to compete. And right now, I think they're just making sure they're looking at everybody. Canales was certainly not the first guy they thought of or talked to a year ago.
That's
and
right.
worked pretty well. So I think he's a reminder for why you should, kind of see what's out there. If there's somebody who seems less experienced than most conventional hires would be, maybe you talk to that guy. Maybe you ask him the kind of questions that give you a sense for whether he can handle a bigger leap. At the same time, they might think they got lucky with the first-year coordinator and it worked well. What are the odds of that happening twice in a row? Maybe they go a more experienced option. Maybe they go with something like Alex Van Pelt or somebody that's done this been in the league in coordinator type positions for a while.
Greg, in your opinion, are you surprised that the Bucs then blocked some of these moves? Because Canales, he did show flashes of brilliance the second half of the year, even though the running game did struggle. A lot of fans would ask, why didn't the organization block some of these moves? Namely, Canales, the wide receiving coach. Now you lose Gilbert and also Goodwin. So why wouldn't the Bucs as an organization block some of these moves?
Well, you can't block an assistant from interviewing for a head coaching job.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how the league works. If it's a promotion, you can't block it. If it's a lateral move, if Canales want to interview for an OC job, they'd probably say no. I mean, they can do that. But if somebody who's not a head coach wants to try and be a head coach, you can't block that. If somebody who's not a coordinator wants to be a coordinator, you can't block that. So that's why Idzik is now a coordinator and Canales is now a head coach. Yesterday with Harold Goodwin and Joe Gilbert, their contracts were up. So they no longer have the right to tell them what to do. And if you let a coach's contract come up, you're probably okay with the idea of losing him. And I think in this context, it was just they're going to bring in a new offensive coordinator. And for you to get the offensive coordinator you want, in general, that guy's going to want to be able to bring in his own people, to come in and say, hey, it's your offense, but we're going to give you these 3 assistants that are used to doing it this way. You're welcome to try and coach them to do it your way. Most of the time, a head coach wants their new staff, and we have a defensive head coach. The offensive coordinator is essentially the head coach of the offense. So they're going to want to bring in, hey, this guy was with me for 6 years in Seattle. Hey, this guy, I know he does this. He understands this. You'll bring in your own people. So
Right.
I think, absolutely. Joe Gilbert, Harold Goodwin, big parts of that Super Bowl team. They've been here 5 years, well-liked, well-respected. But if you're changing hands on offense, as they know they are, let the guy, get a new job, probably get a nice bump. I would think Carolina's paying those assistants pretty well if they're giving Canales a 6-year deal.
Yeah, that's a great point. Greg Auman joining us here from Fox Sports, covers the NFC South and the Buccaneers. What's your take on Thad Lewis? Interviewed him in the press conference setting a few times. Haven't had a lot of personal conversations with him. Obviously, he's extremely well regarded, well thought of within the organization by the players and the administration. You've had some dealings with him. What are your thoughts on his chances, and would he be good?
Yeah, I mean, Thad's a great up-and-coming assistant. I mean, literally, this is his 4th year, was an intern in 20, the Super Bowl year, was their assistant receivers coach in 21, 22, and then got promoted to quarterbacks coach this past season. He's 36. I wrote on him, I think it was when he came in as an intern in 2020. I sat down with him and basically talked to him. I mean, Thad's one of those types. A lot of your NFL, just like in baseball, a lot of your best managers are catchers. In the NFL, a lot of your best coaches are backup quarterbacks.
Yes.
It's like the star quarterbacks can either kind of do the TV thing or just retire. But your backups, your Doug Petersons and Frank Reichs and all these types, were in NFL offenses and knew how they ran, worked with great teams. And the cool thing about that, Thad was a very unmemorable NFL quarterback. He literally played for 2 teams, but he was with like 9.
Right.
And as a result, he got to, spend time with all kinds of different NFL minds. Chip Kelly, you name it. I ran through them, and it's kind of like, what did you learn from each coach you had?
That's fascinating.
In NFL. And it's like, well, this guy taught me about how, you work in the red zone. This guy taught me about meshing the run and the pass. And it's neat in that you have this 36-year-old who has a wealth of experience.
Yes.
If you're a backup quarterback, even if you're only there spring, summer, training camp, practice squad, you're in the same meeting rooms. You're learning from everybody in the room. And I think there's a value in that. So the tricky thing with that is that Thad's never been a coordinator, never called plays. So you're taking the same leap you did with Dave Canales a year ago. There would certainly be continuity if your priority is trying to give Baker Mayfield a situation he wants to come back to. And I think it's a big part of what they want. Thad would do that. Thad worked as closely with Baker as Dave Canales did.
Exactly.
So in terms of if your goal is to run it back, if your goal is to get Baker back, and if that helps get Mike back, that would be a step toward that. Again, it might be that they don't think he's ready. I mean, Dave Canales had been in the NFL for 14 years. Thad Lewis has essentially done it for 4 as a coach. So there's not nearly the same level of professional institutional experience. That doesn't mean he can't do it. It just means it's probably even more of a leap from an experience standpoint than it was a year ago when they gave Canales the job.
Greg,
Sounds like a great resume, though. Tell you what.
Yeah, it
really
does. And I got to ask Greg, because you cover the NFC South. A lot of people would say that Baker Mayfield's going to be in demand not only by the Bucs but also the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, how do you see this situation playing out? And do you think there's an opportunity here, in your opinion, for the Bucs to get this deal done before the free agency period starts?
I do. I mean, if you talk to Baker, I mean, Baker wants to be back. If you think about what Baker had been through in the year before he got to the Bucs, cut loose by the Browns, bad run with a bad team with the Panthers, brief but kind of quick existence with the Rams. 3 teams in less than a year is a hard thing if you've been a number 1 overall quarterback. So, I think for him to come here, have the success he had, be embraced by the team, by the city, find coaches that he likes, an offense that suits his strengths, that's what he wants. That's exactly what he had hoped for when he came here. So you don't do that, to me at least, you don't do that and then roll the dice by starting completely new somewhere else.
Agreed.
Even if something like, okay, Zach Robinson had him for 5 weeks with the Rams. He kind of knows what he would have there if he went to Atlanta. There's other places he could go where he has some semblance of a relationship with somebody. But I think for him to hear what he said hours after their game ended, their season ended, he wants to be back. He values that continuity and that familiarity, being in the same place, being able to kind of settle in and call it home. He's got a baby on the way in April, and I don't know how he feels, but I would think you don't want to uproot your family, move to a new city where your family knows just about nobody a month before giving birth to a child. So I think these are all things that play in the Bucs' favor. It doesn't mean they can offer him, $4 million again and keep him, but I think there's definitely a window where they can get him an offer that lets him feel valued, that gives him a money he's never had in the NFL without breaking the bank. And I think, yes, there could be other situations where teams might be willing to pay more, but I just think the uncertainty of not knowing what he's getting into will give him pause before he goes somewhere just to get an extra $5 million.
I completely agree. Greg said the same thing in the open. And it's just, it doesn't make sense for him, and it makes a lot of sense for him to stay for everybody. And it'll be interesting to see where the OC thing lands. I think Dad Lewis would be great for continuity. And I think personally, continuity is king in this league, especially on offense. You spend a whole year learning.
Oh, and I think we lost JP in the middle of his question there, Greg. So that was, let's see if we can get him back on there. Great stuff by you. Let me ask you, let me go back to the Super Bowl. A lot of fans not necessarily interested in this matchup because of the Taylor Swift controversy, if you will. I don't think it's a controversy, but I think there's fans just tired of it. Do you think that's just, fans acting like they're not interested? Do you think are you interested in this matchup between Kansas City and San Francisco?
Oh, sure. I mean, the people that are upset about Taylor Swift, I don't even know how much of the game they're watching in the first place. In that somebody put up numbers that she was on screen for less than 0.5% of the game. It's like reaction shots when her boyfriend does something big in the game. It's just not a big part of things. And the idea that I'm so used to every NCAA tournament game, whoever's the parent of the big player seeing 15 shots of the family in the stand. We saw it with, and again, nobody was up in arms boycotting the NFL because, the Giants quarterback, they kept showing his dad in the stands. I think it's a little bit of an overreaction. I think a lot of times it's kind of for sport, for the idea of being upset about something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I think the number of people that will watch for Taylor Swift is infinitely higher than any convoluted number of people who are boycotting the Super Bowl or not watching the Super Bowl because they might see her a couple of times on camera.
What do you make of the Mike Evans situation? Because, he's not appearing at the Pro Bowl. People say, well, maybe he doesn't want to answer questions about his future. Is that being also blown out of proportion in your opinion with Evans?
Yeah, I wouldn't read much into that at all. I mean, there's really minimal access to media at the Pro Bowl.
Yeah,
I can't tell you how easy it is to duck interviews entirely while you're at the Pro Bowl. It's walking off the practice field, making like you have to be somewhere and you're done. So that really isn't part of it. I mean, I don't think he necessarily wants to talk about things. He didn't want to talk to us. the Monday after the season ended. So I get that. I think he's kind of been uncomfortable talking about his future the whole season. But again, I mean, when you talk to Mike wants to be back. I think Mike wants to know what that's worth and what the Bucs are willing to give him. And we don't know, what other teams are going to see in terms of their value for Mike, how much more they're willing to pay for him. It's just one of those things where, this is all he's known. This has been his career for 10 years. He has a chance. You look at the greats in Bucs history, and they kind of fall into two groups. There's the Rondays and, the Brookses and the Selmans that were able to play their whole career for one team. But there's also great players like John Lynch and Warren Sapp that didn't get to do that and eventually had to go somewhere else, good or bad. Lynch goes to Denver, he wins 4 Pro Bowl. Sapp goes to Oakland, maybe not as good. So you don't know. And I think the Bucs love Mike Evans. I think they know that he, except for maybe Levante, is the most revered, adored, respected, loved player on that team and has been for a while. Probably the best offensive player in team history. So it's just a matter of, can they find a number that makes him feel respected? He's coming off a great year. He tied for the NFL in touchdowns. So there's very little worry about who he is right now. It's just a position where it's dangerous to pay too much for year 33 and year 34 age receiver play. Eventually there's going to be a drop off, and they just don't want to be on the hook when that happens.
Well, my contract squabble is over with Spectrum. I'm back now, Greg. So
Thank you.
got a long-term deal.
That was an effective holdout there.
It worked out very well. I don't know how long it's going to last, though, knowing Spectrum. Hey, last question for you. Just as you look into this offseason, what do you say the priorities are for the Bucs in free agency and the draft? Obviously, I would be looking edge rusher. I think that's number one on the list. Center would not be far behind. What are your thoughts?
I don't know that I don't expect Shaq Barrett to be back. So that creates a bigger hole. I think with the draft, who they lose in free agency of these top guys are going to be what creates the real voids and the most pressing needs. So inside linebacker, you could have both back. I don't expect it, but if Devin White is gone, you have to decide if you can win with KJ Britt as an inside linebacker, or whether you need to at least give him some competition or a more experienced guy to go there. Again, that means your other linebacker is 34 years old. So you have to have some depth in place there to adjust for the idea that eventually age is going to catch up to Levante David. But no, edge makes a lot of sense. A second safety they absolutely need to get. Running back, they can certainly upgrade their depth there. There's lots of places. Again, receiver, if Mike Evans isn't there, you definitely have to either put your top draft pick or put some money into another receiver to go with Chris Godwin. So there's not quite a drop-off. They didn't have the depth. I think we remember when they had Antonio Brown and Julio Jones and all these depth receiver pieces. And this year they had a 5th round draft pick playing 700 snaps as your third receiver just because Russell Gage got hurt. So I think that they'll want to prepare for that, account for that, and try and have some depth to insulate them against some depth concerns at lots of positions.
All right, Greg, great stuff, my friend. Really appreciate your time. And now that you're best friends with Taylor Swift, really appreciate you coming on the show. We are honored.
Of course. I'm still going to make time for you. Don't worry.
Wow. See, that's just who you are. That's who you are. Thanks, partner. Appreciate it. Greg Auman. Right. You can find him on X at Greg Auman, covering the NFC South for Fox Sports. Great stuff. Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and take another break. We got Dave Zimroth coming up, my good friend, Coach Z, longtime FSU USF assistant coach. We're going to talk all types of local basketball, USF, FSU, Florida, all that stuff, maybe even a little Magic and some high school basketball. Always great to catch up with Coach Z. We are brought to you by the great folks at the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Scott Jeeves, big fan of the program and a great sponsor as well. You can find him in his St. Pete office today. I've been texting with him, or his Tampa office. He is local. You can go in and talk to him and his great group of attorneys there. They are big enough to take on those big insurance companies, but they will make you an important client, as all their clients are. You'll get calls back in a timely manner. That's what they do at the Jeeves Law Group. A free case evaluation, whatever your thoughts are, see if you have a case. JEEVES lawgroup.com. Back in 3. Stay with us.
JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted, The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Start the new year with a new diamond from the Gold and Diamond Source. It's still engagement season. Where better to get that special ring than the Gold and Diamond Source? Of course, I just got mine there. I'm engaged. You should do the same thing. Let's go. Gold and Diamond Source has the largest selection of engagement rings in the country. A literal jewelry superstore with 30 times the inventory of any normal jeweler. And if you have a loved one or a special person in your life who has a birthday this month, maybe you have an anniversary coming up, you can get 15% off the January birthstone, which is garnet, as in garnet and gold for all your Seminoles. Celebrate that mythical national championship. And it's the Gold and Diamond Source's 40th anniversary. For the past 40 years, they have taken pride in offering only natural diamonds formed over billions of years from the Earth's incredible forces. And gold prices are at an all-time high. Now's your chance to turn your jewelry box into a cash machine. It's the perfect time to trade in your broken or unworn pieces for something new and stunning. It's the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Omerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
Hey, kiddos, welcome back to the big show here, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo, my doctor, now Peter's doctor. So we say all the time, there's so much stuff going on within the health realm these days in terms of supplements. You know, I'm on testosterone. I've been on testosterone for a long time, and Chris does a great job of regulating that for me, getting my blood work, making sure there's not too much. You know, you don't want to abuse it, but just keep you at a good level. Nutrition wise, always getting good nutrition advice, immune system, what supplements we should be taking, what foods to avoid. We talk about it all the time on the show when he comes on, but you can get that personal advice, and someone's going to literally spend an hour and a half with you going over your blood work, talking about what your life is like, where we, you know, because lots of times, folks, and I saw this the other day in a meme. It's like, if your doctor just prescribed you something and didn't ask you about how you sleep, how much you work out, what your stress level is, you know, all these different things that affect your body, he's not doing his job. He's just writing a script to get you out of the office to get the next person in. They don't care about your overall health. That's not the way it is at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Get someone who actually will direct. You have insurance, get your lab work done, go see your specialist, but have somebody directing your overall health that really cares and listens. That's the way it is. You know, have someone that actually cares. It makes a big difference. So BAMMC.com is the website. You can make an appointment right through there with Chris.
And it's legit, because I went in there about an hour spent, and he's, any other questions? What are you looking to do? What about this? What's your medical conditions that you're concerned about? Well, Acid reflux. Well, that may be affecting your voice. We need to do this, this, and this. What about your blood work? You want to get that done? Absolutely. Let's get that done. Let's get this done. Let's get that done. An hour, at least an hour and a half of just saying, what I need to do, how I need to do it, who I need to see, refer this, refer that. Money well spent. And honestly, if you're not doing that at 45 years old, which, that's my age right now, then what are you doing? Because you're taking a chance. Because again, we may think we're 25, and sometimes I feel 25, but lately, the last couple of weeks, I feel like I'm 65. So I got to go see Mr. Chris Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medical. It's great. Yeah.
There you go. All right, I want to get to some of our great commenters here. Some new names in here. Elias Rubio, have not seen you yet, so thanks for joining us.
Yeah, he called it before.
Awesome. Seems like Baker Mayfield going to deal with the same crap like he did with the Browns and Panthers. Why we keep firing and hiring coaches? I thought Canales did not hot this year. We let him go too fast, in my opinion. We didn't let him go. We didn't let Canales go. He took a head coaching job. You can't keep someone from doing that, as Greg explained. So it's not like, and again, folks, he he was great. We loved the press conferences, but the offense was 21st. Go back and look at the Saints and the Carolina game, and wouldn't mind Brian Johnson coming to the Bucs. The Eagles, no, that was a disaster last year. Did you not watch that? It's a huge reason why the Eagles took such a step back. No Brian Johnson. No, thank you. John Hill, good morning to you, my friend. Riot Comedy Reels are funny. Check them out. Cowboys, Eagles, etc. Riot Comedy. Oh, so I've seen a bunch of these different comedy reels. Good actors, comedic actors doing funny stuff on different teams and stuff. We might need to get into that ourselves, Peter. I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Let's do that.
James says Rich McKay, after Raheem hired, relieved of duties from a football operations standpoint. It's clear Arthur Blank wanted Belichick, and McKay pitched the fit. Next coaching cycle, he will not be involved, and there'll probably be one next coaching cycle. Well, there always is, right? Look, I love Rich. Has always been a good friend to me. Helped me get hired in Atlanta. Love the family, his son Hunter, and just love the family, love those folks. So I'm a little biased about Rich McKay. I think Rich is super smart, does a great job, and I think not hiring Bill Belichick was the right move. Sorry. I think, it sounds absolutely ludicrous that you would say you picked Raheem Morris over Bill Belichick. Yeah, this ain't Bill Belichick from 20 years ago, okay? This ain't Bill Belichick from 10 years ago. Dude's got a little wackadoodle, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. You don't go through a season without an offensive coordinator. That's just ridiculous. Clearly, the guy does not know how to draft, especially offensively, and he wants all the power. I no. And if Arthur, and I said this during the coaching search. I know Arthur Blank. I work for him. I know Arthur a little bit. He wanted Bill Belichick because it makes him relevant. He's in his 80s now. The Falcons have not been relevant for 6 years. They've had 6 losing seasons.
Oh, I'm sorry. We got a phone call here. I tell you what, let's go out to the phone lines here. Let's go out to Jim. Jim, welcome to the JP Peterson Show.
What's up, Jim?
What up? We keeping Todd Bowles?
I was waiting for Jim to call.
Jim is on that Bulls bandwagon. I definitely think Bulls has done enough.
Bandwagon out of town.
I think Jim wants Bulls here, and he's tired.
Jim wants Bulls here. Okay.
Yeah, Jim wants.
Yes, we're keeping Todd Bowles.
I'm here, y'all. Getting rid of Bowles. We're getting rid of Bowles again because I didn't miss that.
No,
not yet. Why do you say that? Did we say we're getting rid of Bowles yet?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
No, I think it's pretty clear that he's sticking around. Let me ask you a question though.
They hired our offensive coordinator, huh?
Yeah, they hired away. Yeah, the Panthers. If I'm a Panthers fan, I'm going. Wait a minute. We just hired the Bucs off OC that was a wide receivers coach or a quarterback's coach, and after 1 year, he's OC and had the 21st ranked offense, and he's bringing his run game coordinator. It was dead last in the league. Am I excited about that? If I'm a Panthers fan, I mean, no, I'm not. Right. I mean, but whatever. I don't think it's a death knell for the Bucs. Would I have liked to keep the continuity going with Dave? Absolutely, 100%. But every team has to deal with this type of stuff. So you move on, you find somebody else, and find the next up and coming guy. That might be Thad Lewis. It might just be Thad Lewis. And I don't think we'll have a hard time finding a better offensive line coach and run game coordinator. I love those guys. They did a great job, won a Super Bowl. But clearly the last couple of years they've struggled. So I think we might be able to find something better. What are your thoughts?
He took our offensive line coach, huh?
Yeah.
Well, they weren't under contract anymore. So, and then this is what Auman explained before in the interview. And of course, catch the replay here on the JP Peterson show on the page, on the various websites here. No, we didn't lose them. We didn't lose them at all. Stand by for a minute. Jim, we're going to come back to you, caller, in a moment. We're going to finish up with Jim here as I'm working the phone lines. So the explanation is that they weren't under contract in the first place. And to me, I think it goes back to Todd Bowles wants to improve that situation. They were here for 5 years. They hit their ceiling. They were not a good run team. You were one of the last run teams in the last 2 years. You were last in the National Football League. So you want to move on. And sometimes change is good. Change is a good thing. So the Bucs are going to definitely make some changes to this offensive staff. Jim, we got to run. Appreciate the call here on the JP Peterson show. Let's go back out to the phone lines here. What's your name? Where you calling from? You're on the JP Peterson show.
Corey from Tampa, Florida.
What's up, Corey?
Corey, how you doing, bud?
What's going on, man? Hey, man, I think everybody needs to stop worrying, man. Everybody getting, fan is short for fanatic, so I mean, they just going crazy. You know what I mean? Like, we have the talent. As long as we keep the talent, we can find somebody who, want to run out of 12 personnel, 11 personnel, play action, vertical. It's just the same thing. Vertical with crosses. I mean, the scheme ain't that difficult, man. You know what I mean? The talent is what the players is really what makes the thing go together. You know what I mean?
I agree. The Jimmies and Joes, not the X's and O's, right?
Who would you like to see the Bucs hire? Would you like to see the in-house candidate and Thad Lewis, who, by the way, according to Ian Rappaport and various sources, is being interviewed today? And then also this coming across the wire here from Greg Auman, who we just had on. John Van Dam, not to be confused with John Claude Van Dam. Yes, he's also interviewing. So would you like to see them with the in-house candidate?
Let's run with John Claude Van Dam. He might
That would be an ass-kicking offensive line. I can tell you that right now.
I bet he won't miss no kicks.
Very good, Corey. Very good.
We'd have the best kicker in the game. Absolutely.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
He brings up.
I don't know, man. We might could go with an old seasoned veteran offensive play caller that done call plays. Like I heard they said Van Pelt. I know it ain't no sexy name, but he done call plays. I probably want to get somebody that done call plays because I don't want to go into the uncertainty. You know what I mean?
Well,
maybe this dude don't know what he's doing.
I will say this: he worked with Baker before, so you keep that continuity, which is what we've been talking about on the show and various shows here, and I think a lot of Bucs fans will be concerned with. And then on top of it, if you look at Van Pelt, he worked with Josh Freeman. He got the best out of Josh Freeman there when he was working with Raheem Morris. I get it; he was an offensive coordinator, never. He doesn't have that. He has some experiences calling plays, so you're not going into the situation with Canales, but. He's been around the league here. And for me, the big time thing is he's worked with Baker Mayfield. So that's what I look to do is continue that continuity. And you're exactly right. Bucs fans, relax. Trust in Jason Light. Trust in Mike Greenberg and Jacqueline Davidson and everybody. The brain trust over there. They know what they're doing. They know how to work this out.
If we're sitting here in 2 months in March and Baker's gone and Evans is gone,
right?
And our offensive coordinator is Brian Johnson, then panic.
Yes,
and then we can panic. Then we can panic. But until then, let's have some faith in the guys and the ladies over there.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's right. Long we got Baker, Evans, and Godwin. I don't care who they bring in, man.
We'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Doesn't matter. All right, Corey, thanks a lot for the call. Appreciate you, boss. All right, good stuff. Open phone line 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. It's the JP Peterson Show.
Hey, so I want to get to this. Christopher Cole, because I gave him a homework assignment, and he got back to me, so I want to make sure we put this on.
Yeah, he's great.
It said, JP wanted to elaborate on how I came up with the Swift-Kelsey amount gained by the NFL. The league had its highest regular season viewership among women since it began tracking in 2000. Research by the Apex Marketing Group says Swift's association with the NFL has added the equivalent of around $330 million in brand value to the Chiefs and the league. So, yeah, it's not – she hasn't giving them a $330 million boost. Like that money came into the coffers of the NFL. But where they measure this stuff is if there's new eyeballs, new women, female eyeballs that are now watching the game. Well, this brings now advertisers are like, hey, we got all these women watching now. So we'd like to advertise our X group. There's a lot of things that, women advertising specific things that are not, they're not going to as much spend money on the NFL because it's not their target market. Well, it is now. So that brings potential revenue. Question is when Swifty dumps Travis after the election and they're done and their stuff is done, as are those women still going to be watching the NFL? No, they'll be like, oh, he dumped her. I hate NFL players, right? Let's play this out. I mean, once the election is over and they get their bang for their buck, what they're looking for with Mr. Pfizer and Taylor, then Taylor, gives her endorsement to the brain dead dude. Then we're and their whole thing is done. Then does it have staying power? That's the question. I don't think so.
No.
So, but we'll see. Again, I am a Swiftie, so to speak. So I have been educated by my daughter on the guys that she has dated in the past. None of them look, act, have the lack of intelligence that Travis Kelce does. None of them. He's not her type, but suddenly he is.
Well, there you go. Yeah, amazing. Script writers. Things that make you go.
He's a knuckle dragger. Listen to his podcast.
You said it, not me.
He doesn't get to the even second level of Taylor's song. We're getting to some of the third and fourth level references in those songs. Like I can't imagine her like playing, her album for him and saying, "Do you notice the nuance and the deeper level things I'm trying to get to here?" I don't know. Got any chunky soup? I mean. What's those conversations like? Want to watch?
You got to fight for your right to party.
Now that's a song, Taylor. Why don't you write that song? Think about it, people. Think of the Travis Kelce.
I don't know. He's positioned himself pretty well here, I guess.
Oh,
I mean,
he certainly has.
If he gets married to her and they have a kid,
he's done a great job.
I mean, he could actually leave her and get half, couldn't he?
You think she'd be that stupid? She's not that stupid. Listen, being a Swiftie fan, I'm offended she would even date a guy like that. What do you think about that? That's from my daughter, by the way.
All right, you want to go out to the phone lines?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's go out to the phone lines. I believe this is Eric. Eric, welcome to the JP Peterson Show.
What's up?
What's going on, buddy?
You guys?
Yeah.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
Which tag would you like to use on the 3 players?
So you're asking about the franchise tag? If you're gonna
or the tradition tag. If we use the tradition tag on Winfield, we can get 2 first-round picks.
No, I'm not using the transition. No. Stop, Eric. Stop.
Or the non-Azuka tag.
Stop right there. No transition tag on Antoine Winfield Jr. If you're going to use a tag, it's a franchise tag. It's going to be on Antoine Winfield Jr. In my opinion, that's most likely the number one priority. Yes. I think you want to avoid using that tag.
It's a smaller number too.
Exactly. Because if you franchise Baker Mayfield, it's going to be at least $35 million, at least.
But we can get 2 first-round picks, though.
Who cares? Like I don't understand this. Like Bucs fans are so infatuated with 2 first-round picks. Who cares if you got 2 first-round picks? Who cares?
I'd like to have 2 first-round picks.
Right.
Nobody's going to give you that.
But you got Antoine Winfield Jr., got the best safety in the game, and you're talking about 2 first-round picks.
You're right.
Okay.
All right. Well, we got to take a break.
Eric,
Zimroth coming up. Thanks, Eric.
Yeah.
David Zimroth coming up. Coach Z is going to join us. We're going to talk some basketball. We haven't done a lot of that. Now it's basketball season, right? Isn't it?
Yes.
Football
it is.
season's over, so it's basketball season.
Oh.
At least for a few minutes, and hockey season, of course. We're brought to you by the folks at Italiano Insurance. Get that Italiano Insurance checkup. Just call them up, 813-877-7799. Say, hey, can you shop my homeowner's insurance and my auto insurance and my life insurance and my business insurance? I want to see what I can do here and maybe save some money. They could probably come back and save you hundreds, thousands of dollars, folks. It's not what you earn, it's what you keep. So have Italiano Insurance help you keep a lot more of your money. 813-877-7799. They do all the work. You save all the money. That's how this works. 813-877-7799. Back in 3 with Coach Z. See what I did there?
Very nice.
JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA two-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or try to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to geddesgordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com or call 813-485-6808. JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, well, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. As we're gonna do a little basketball chat here. Do we have Coach Z on the line, Peter?
Got him. Absolutely. Yes. I'm ready to talk some basketball, maybe some USF,
man.
which has been impressive. And how about the Orlando Magic also?
Yes, Orlando Magic as well. What's up, Coach Z? Longtime USF assistant coach, FSU assistant coach, University of Georgia assistant coach. What's up, my friend? How are you?
You got them all down, man. How you doing, JP? Long time, man.
Man, I'm pulling like what hair I have left, bro. I'm pulling out. I had practice yesterday with my 11 and under team at the YMCA. Man, we got crushed the other day because we couldn't beat the half court trap. I'm trying to, I'm on the fly with my whiteboard trying to give them the old Z, spread out, throw it over the top, don't dribble into trying to give them all the stuff, Z, and they're not listening to me, man. They're just not.
Hey, you dribble out of pressure. Okay, you dribble out of pressure. You pass over pressure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
They don't get it. They don't get it. They're 11. So, what are you going to do?
Well, that's why DZ Sports is around.
Exactly. So, what is the key? What am I doing wrong? Now we're 2-2. So we got out talented a couple of times. Certainly wasn't coaching mistakes. So what do you do when you're coaching a team like that? Fundamentals is the key, right?
Well, no different that I tell parents this, I tell you this. It's very difficult. I love all these coaches that put underneath out of bounds, press offense, side out, zone offense, man offense with kids that can't dribble the ball with both hands.
Right.
Can't make anything but a layup. And struggle passing. So if you don't teach all those things prior to then teaching some basic offensive stuff and defensive stuff, that's what's going to happen.
Right.
That's exactly what's going to happen. And never understood why everybody's so motivated to get kids in games before they even get them to learn how to walk.
Right. Yeah, we spend the first half hour practice doing fundamentals, dribbling, passing, understanding passing lanes, dribble with both hands, protect the ball, protect your passing, do all that. And shooting, of course, we'll do layups, but do them the right way. So, and then the next half hour, I'll spend, trying to teach them one aspect. Yesterday, we did, this is how you beat the trap. and you know what? They picked it up pretty quick.
Here's the thing. Everything you're going over for that half hour is great. How many 30-minute segments are those kids doing on their own when you're not with them? That's exactly the key. There is the key.
So I need to make sure when I'm sending out an email today, you guys for 30 minutes practice your dribble. Should be an hour, right? Like I tell my stepson, he said, I want to make the middle school team. I said, okay.
Right.
Well, what are you doing to do that? Well, I'm on the team, right? I'm like, yeah, you've practiced once this week, and then you did a game on Saturday. What did you do in between? I said, I told you got to, for an hour or 2 hours a day, you need to be out there dribbling and shooting and dribbling and shooting and dribbling and shooting, working on your fundamentals. They don't want to do that. These kids don't want to do that.
They just want to play.
Just want to play. Just want to play ball.
We'll shoot threes. That's it.
Shoot threes and play ball.
No defense.
Yeah. Well, that's why we need DZ Sports, right? So if you got kids, that are going through this, go ahead.
Send them my way.
And what are you going to teach them?
Teach them. It's anything like math. And how you supposed to do algebra and geometry if you don't know how to add, subtract, divide? You got to know how to dribble with both hands. You got to be able to shoot layups, bank shots, elbow jumpers. You got to know how to throw a bounce pass, chest pass, hook. If you can't do those things, you cannot run an offense. How are you supposed to run an offense? Exactly. And then lastly, you got to be able to catch the ball all the time. If you can't catch the ball, then you shouldn't be on the court playing.
That's I haven't even really thought about that. Receiving the passes
as how many times these little kids, they don't catch a basketball.
That's a great point.
So I remember one time, I was asked, well, don't you teach kids how to catch basketballs? No, I teach kids how to dribble, pass, and shoot. If they can't catch a basketball, that's something you should be teaching, not me.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's just reps, that's just reps. There's not a whole lot of technique to it. You just got to learn how to catch it. And it's a lot of reps to it. All right, let's talk a little USF men's basketball because here we go. They've won 5 in a row, 11 of their past 12, 13-5 now. And Kobe Knox
in the league.
Yeah, how about this? This coaching change? Amir's doing one hell of a job. Tell me about what's going on there.
Well, I've never met him. I think unofficially we met 30 years ago when I was at Florida State. We were the first college to come in their home. I was recruiting his older brother, Sharif.
That's right. That's his older brother.
His older brother, who was, if there's 10 high school players during my time that were better than him, I mean, he was unbelievable how good he was.
Wow.
And we did a really good job. We were the first school in his house. He wound up going to California. I'm pretty sure Amir probably was 10 or 11 at the time, probably sat in the home visit. They had a lot of people in the home. Yeah. But I've never met him per se since then. And I tell you, my hat's off to the guy. He inherited a difficult situation, and he has brought unbelievable attention to the program, all positive. Their team is playing extremely well. And I'm not, I don't think I'm going out on a limb. I've been around this program a long time, even before I worked. Might be the most successful first-year head coach in history of the athletic department at this point in time. I mean, I can't remember a first-year coach in any sport having the kind of year he's having at this point in time. Now, again, if it continues, then it's done. I mean, it's without question. But the job he's done, the players, he's got nice rotation. I saw a change in their team when they beat Florida State in a neutral site game down in Fort Lauderdale. I thought they were outstanding that game with their man-to-man defensive pressure. They caused Florida State. They made Florida State look really bad, and that's hard to do, and they did it. And I don't think it had a lot to do with Florida State. I think USF is the reason that Florida State looked really bad. And he's got a kid. Let's look. This kid Pryor, he put together. They're on a 5-game winning streak. I'm pretty sure his average in the 5 games is 20 points a game, 10 rebounds, whatever it is. Kid's playing out of his mind. They've got Kobe Knox playing really well. Interesting story about Kobe Knox. I've known the dad. You've known the dad forever. I made a bunch of calls for the kid. They had a bunch of calls for the kid when he was a senior. And he wasn't a highly recruited kid. And I told people, you're not even going to see the value of this kid until he's going into his junior year. He's going to be a late bloomer. He's in his junior year, basically. I mean, the kid's a good player. And I always say this, how bad can someone be if one of the parents was really good? I mean, it blows my mind that people question any kid whose parent was really good or both parents were really good. Those kids all turn out to be pretty darn good athletes or players, in their respective sports. Then you got the kid Miguel, you got Youngblood. I mean, the kid I love the kid Reed, the freshman from New York. He's playing out. I think the kid is really good. He's got a good team. Simple as that. He's got a good team.
Coach, how important was it to get that road win over Memphis? Because, not a lot of pundits gave them a chance. How important is it for that young team to get a win on the road versus, a top 10 team in their own league?
Well, any road win in conference is a good win. The way they beat Memphis, coming back from 20 down in the second half, and you can see it. I've been involved with games. Recently, something was tweeted about a game I was coaching in Florida State where you're up 19 with 9 minutes left in a game in Carolina and lost. I mean, those kinds of things happen. It could really deflate a team. I think them beating Memphis hasn't done anything since. They're not playing well. I think USF exposed them, and it remains to be seen what happens. But that was an unbelievable win. Unbelievable. I watched it. I didn't watch the whole game. I watched the last.
Did we lose Z?
No, we didn't lose him. He's here. Go ahead.
I'm here. I'm here.
I thought we lost you, partner. Talk a little bit about how far this team can go. I mean, automatic bid. mean, they're what, 6-1 in conference. You
Right.
got Charlotte, you got Memphis. Are they automatic bid worthy?
I'll tell you this, and I was talking to a couple friends of mine the other day. I don't think it helps that league if FAU and Memphis don't continue playing well. Now, Memphis, I'm pretty sure, dropped out of the top 25. But it's important for a league to have a ranked team or two. It's important. I think tonight's game at East Carolina is going to be, most people aren't even talking about it. It's a huge game.
Mm-hmm.
Going to East Carolina is like the old days going to Southern Miss. It's a horrible place to get to in terms of travel.
Yes.
The home court advantage over there is unbelievable for those teams. And they get through this game. Going got to win by 1. They can get through East Carolina. Then I think they have North Texas on the road, which is a good team. If they continue playing the way they play, it's going to lead into a humongous game, maybe the biggest regular season game in the history of the program. FAU coming in here, hopefully continue to be ranked, and I'm pretty sure the game's is Sunday, February 18th. I mean, that game can be as big a game as there is. Should be a sellout.
I've been wanting to go to a game, so that looks like the one. That should be the one. All right, let's talk about
everything continues going the way it's going. That game can be as big as it's been in this town.
Wow.
Yeah, it should be. Let's get out there.
Well, here's the thing. You asked about, if they get multiple teams in, if American Conference gets multiple teams in, they surely could be one of those teams if they continue playing the way they're playing.
Man, that's incredible. Incredible. Talking to Coach Z, longtime assistant at USF, FSU, and Georgia. What about the Seminoles? They were terrible early on. They lost to Lipscomb, and then they got a couple guys back. Should have beaten North Carolina the other day, third-ranked North Carolina. How good can they be? Can they make a run here late in the ACC?
I tell you, obviously I follow them pretty intently. They were bad. They were bad the first part of the year. They just were bad. Their offensive system was really slow and just spread out. They were starting their offense at like almost half court. They weren't using their athletes defensively to get easy baskets, cause a little chaos. And after that USF game, I think a lot changed when they played Carolina on the road and were up 10 and lost. They lost at home to Lipscomb. They had another hiccup. But since then, they're pressing in the full court, either man-to-man or zone pressure. They're playing 10, 11 guys. Their offense has really moved closer to the basket. They're doing a lot of inside out. And the kid Primo Spears, coming back from being injured, they've been a different team with him. He adds another element in terms of his ability to penetrate and cause some problems defensively. They've just been a different team. My opinion, we had a reunion up there a couple weekends ago. They played Clemson. I thought that was a game they should have won. I thought they were better than Clemson. They started off the game really well, and they just hit a snag, and they lost. That was a bad game to lose.
Yeah.
Then they beat someone on the road, forget who it was, and they came back, and I thought they were going to beat Carolina. I don't think Carolina's, per se, traditional top 3 team. I think it showed last night at Georgia Tech. Yeah. But same thing. It was a one possession turned that game around at Florida State. I thought Florida State winning those 2 games. Now they're 8-1 in the league instead of 6-3 going to Louisville, which should be a win Saturday night. They should beat Louisville on the road. And now their whole season's turned around. So
Is that a testament to Leonard Hamilton, in your opinion?
Excuse me?
Is that a testament to Leonard Hamilton? Is that a testament to him and his coaching? Because a lot you heard, some rumors or some murmurs about him possibly being on the hot seat as the coach of Florida State. Is that a testament to him and how he gets his team prepared?
Yeah, I've known him a long time. I don't think him ever being on the hot seat is realistic. I mean, the guy's done. You don't do what he's done in 22 years and ever be on the hot seat. I think, if anything, people were, uttering, maybe it's time for change. His age is this, is that, but they were playing poorly. They've turned it around. Look, at the end of the day, you're talking about what? Sooner or later, the guy's going to retire. He's going to retire. It's going to be a year or two. He's going to retire. And that's where whatever succession plan they might have in place or unofficially, those things are going to be important. Look, he's got good players. They're a long, athletic team. They don't play with a pure point guard. They win by committee. He's got an associate head coach, Stan Jones, who, in my opinion, and I've known Stan a long time, in my opinion, Stan Jones should be the highest paid assistant coach in the country. I think the guy's phenomenal, can really coach. He's a good recruiter. He's been in Len Hamilton close to 30 years at 3 different stops. I mean, this guy is really, really talented. So I think that combination, those two guys, has been instrumental to the success of the Florida State basketball program in the last 22 years.
Yeah, so it gives us something fun to watch going down the stretch. I haven't paid much attention to the Gators. I know they got Kentucky coming up. What's their situation?
You know, they're not discussed like they used to be. I don't know what it is, if it's by design. You know, in the old days, you know, Billy Donovan or Sloan. I mean, the University of Florida basketball was a topic. It was always something people talked about. I think they blew an unbelievable opportunity losing to Kentucky at home. They had the game won. They were playing better than Kentucky in a couple of possessions in the last 3 minutes of the game, and boom, they lost that game. They've had a couple other games where they've, you know, gotten that loss back, and they got beat bad. I forget if it was either Tennessee or Mississippi State. You know, they lost a tough game on the road. But I'll tell you something about that team. They're going to be a tough team at the end of the year, okay? Kid from Bartow who left Rick Pitino at Iona. Instead of going with Coach Pitino, he went to St. John's. He came down to Florida. Walter Clayton is very, very good. Very, very good. They're a big kid. Very, very good. They've got some other pieces, and that's another team that plays a lot of players. And they come at you, and they don't mind the game being 90s and the low hundreds. They're going to come at you, and they're going to play, and they're going to play. So I think they have a chance to do some things here in the last third of the season to get themselves in position to be in position.
Coach, I want to jump to the NBA. How surprised were you that a team that's 30-13, the Milwaukee Bucks, fire their coach, and is Doc Rivers the answer to get them over the top? What do you make of this situation?
Boy, I'm a bad guy to ask about that stuff. It's hard for me to really feel bad for anybody that loses a job and is going to have $15 to $20 million coming to them. You know, it's just look.
You can't cry for those folks.
Look, I remember Adrian Griffin. I got a feeling I might have tried to recruit Adrian Griffin.
Yeah.
Because I tried to recruit anybody and everybody. But, you know, the NBA is a different beast. You know, talked to Sam Cassell a lot. He's an assistant with the Celtics and played for us at Florida State.
Nice.
It's just a different situation. And it's a players-oriented league, meaning that the players have a lot of say-so, especially the superstars, on what's going on. I don't know what happened there. I don't know what the deal is. Doc Rivers has been successful at most every stop he's been at. Okay, is he the answer? I don't know. He better be the answer. I can tell you that.
Right.
Handpicked by the players.
That's a tough situation. These guys, they sign 5-6 year deals. They get paid an exorbitant amount of money. As soon as something's not right, the owners, the front office, hey, look, we need to make sure these guys are happy, and that's all that matters. So
get rid of the coach.
You know, to me, the guy that I really love watching coach is the guy at the Miami Heat. I love watching Eric Spoelstra coach. I love watching how he interacts and his command, how he commands respect, and just it's a totally different situation. You don't hear any stuff about that guy when they're not playing well or when they're playing well. It's just this is the way we do things to Miami Heat, and that's the way it's going to be done. I love it. I wish more teams would take that philosophy.
Well, because the guy who runs the team they know they can't bitch about the coach and run to the GM or the owner and get him fired, because that ain't happening. That ain't happening. And that's the way all the organizations should run, but none of them have the stones to do it.
Yeah.
So
It'll be interesting to see what happens with the Lakers. You hear mumblings right now about the Lakers and Darvin Ham.
He'll be gone in a week.
Well, LeBron James, the coach killer there. I mean, there's been talk about Phil Jackson. Could you see Phil Jackson coming back to coach? So he's kind of turned down the opportunity to coach LeBron before. Do you think is this?
I don't see it. I don't think. I don't.
He couldn't handle these guys.
Ever getting back into coaching.
Okay. He wouldn't want to handle these guys. Let me put it that way. He could handle them. He doesn't want to handle them. He would. No, I don't see that happening at all.
Listen, we've talked about this in the past, JP. Money at that level is numero uno. The money is so big, and no one's going to sacrifice that money. They're going to do whatever they got to do to make sure the money keeps rolling in, the tickets are sold, the place is full, and those superstars that are getting 50, 60 million a year are happy. Nothing is changing.
Yep, I agree. It's rare. Hey, you wanted to mention a little bit more about the reunion, right? You got speaking of Sam Cassell, who I don't know why he doesn't have a head coaching job. That should have been done well.
God, you would think in this day and age when it's about a players' league, players love Sam. They absolutely adore the guy. He'd be such a good head coach in terms of his relationships with the players. But again, I don't know how these owners think. I've never been around any of them.
Yeah.
We were fortunate. Florida State has done something that is extraordinary here in the last 20 years. Every 2 years, they have a basketball reunion. And the amount of people that attend this was probably the least attended due to just a schedule change. It usually was in February. They had to move it. So I thought that probably affected the attendance. You're talking 100 plus people associated with that program in some fashion always attend, and they do a phenomenal job. Big time cocktail reception on Friday night. They bring you on the court, introduce everybody by name. Sometimes they'll introduce a championship team. They'll retire someone's number. A couple of years ago, they did it with George McLeod. It's really a terrific weekend of camaraderie and tradition. And selfishly for me, this past reunion, I had a chance to spend an exorbitant amount of time with the person that gave me my first Division I coaching job, and Coach Hugh Durham. I mean, we spent
that's awesome.
1-on-1, 3 hours in the hotel lobby having coffee Saturday morning. It was unbelievable. Guy's 86. His memory is better than mine. He's so sharp. It's unbelievable. Had a chance to spend time with maybe the best friend I've ever had in the world, Larry Gay, who was an assistant at Florida State when I tried to be a walk-on there. And he basically saw me out at a nightclub one night, and he said, "Why are you trying to do this? You're not going to play. You're 2 in the morning. What are you doing here?" Got me a coaching job at Florida High on campus. The rest is history. 3 years later, I'm working with those guys at Georgia. I mean, these are the kind of things those reunions are unbelievable about.
That's fun.
So it was a great weekend. Great weekend.
So you're going to give me an invite next time? Let me know what's up.
I want to apologize publicly. That should have been something I did. I should have told you, get your butt up there. You would have loved it.
3 years on the radio with Gene Deckerhoff doing the color commentary, not to mention how many years I covered the team. I mean, my God. How could they? I don't even know how you have a reunion without me. I mean, how's that even happen?
Well, hey, don't take it so personally. I haven't been invited to some reunions right here. Who knows why?
I think I know why. For me, anyway. I don't know about you, but I know why for me. Absolutely. All right. Well, Z, listen, great to chat with you. Always, we need to do it now that it's basketball season, all right? Because we got a lot more to talk about.
No, we need to talk about some high school sports, man. There's some good teams in town, unbelievable coaches, and some really high-level players are in this.
Let's do that next week. I got to hit a break, but let's do that next week.
No, do it. You got it.
Come back and we'll do all high school stuff because I want to get into that. They don't get enough run these days, so I want to get into some high school hoops. We got some great players and coaches around here, so let's do that next week. Okay?
We'll do it. Thank you.
Date. All right, Coach Z. I'll be hitting him up too for some more game plans for more fundamental stuff.
I tell you right now, I wanted to ask him a question about that backcourt. He talked about Sam Cassell, but I remember Sam Cassell, Bob Sir, Charlie Ward. You got Doug Edwards there. Team was
four number one draft picks right there. Yeah, I was the color commentator for that team for 3 years.
I gotta have some stories. I
got stories for you.
I want to hear some
great stories for you.
I want to hear some stories because I remember that team going all the way to
About the dice game that Sam used to run on the charter plane. That was fantastic. No money changing hands, of course.
Of course not. No, of course nobody changing hands at all.
Sam Cassell was the best. He was the best. And Bobby Sir, all those guys, that was one hell of a team, man.
Yeah, it was.
That
They
was
got all
one
the way
hell of a team.
to the Final 8 against Kentucky and Jamal Mashburn, and
they were a half away from going to the Final Four, and some kid by the name of Jared Prickett, who's scored a high score of 4. I think his high was that year was 4, hit like 6 threes out of nowhere. And I mean, they bottled up what was this Travis
Ford.
Travis Ford and Jamal Mashburn.
Yeah,
Mashburn didn't do squat. They totally shut them down. This kid comes off the bench, is just shooting out of his mind for the first time. Like, he never did anything since, and it was just that's the tournament. You're one and done, man. You're one and done.
Yeah.
That was one hell of a basketball team. We need to get Z and talk about that one time. That was a hell of a team.
I want to hear it. Yeah.
A quick break. When we come back, I'm going to talk a little Rays. Also, a big fundraiser coming up on Friday night that you may want to be a part of. There'll be a lot of the who's who, a lot of Bucs players and stuff. So if you want to go to a little a nice event, really, really well done event, we'll give you some information on that with my good friend David Kahn. So we'll do that as well and do some Rays talk when we come back in 3. Stay with
JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA 2-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or trying to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group, because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to geddesgordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com or call 813-485-6808. JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here. We're going to get to my good friend David Kahn here in just a second, tell you all about the fundraiser. Wanted to touch a little bit on the Rays, which we said we were going to do, Peter, and I guess by law we have to do it. Because, you know.
We talking about invitees to spring training. I mean, what kind of big moves have they made besides the minor leaguers? Zero.
Trading their best pitcher, dominant pitcher for a bunch of slapdick prospects. Yeah. No, a couple of articles in the Times this week. John Romano wrote a column today, talking about, the fact that the Rays have done very little. They've spent $1.1 million in this free agent cycle. $1.1 million. That was the tip money that the Dodgers spent at the hotel when they signed all their players. I mean, it's embarrassing. And he makes the point that, unfortunately the Rays don't have the money to sign some of the big guys like Cody Bellinger that are still out on the market, when that's just not true. That's just not true. They have the money. They have more than enough money to sign these players. They just choose not to. And they're going to go into a season when, and I understand it's a season when Shane McClanahan's not going to play, obviously, because he's injured. You're not going to get Springs and Rasmussen back till probably halfway through the season. But to me, that doesn't preclude you from going out and signing other players. Why would, in fact, it makes you should be if you're actually trying to win a World Series. And most of the argument that he makes is, they look at payroll over a 3-year period, and they're going to spend X amount of dollars. But again, what they're spending on payroll is peanuts compared to what they've made. I mean, once again, Stu Sternberg has $500 million sitting in another account that he took out of the Rays account. That's why his partner sued him partially, one of the main reasons. So he's taken plenty of money out of this franchise, not to mention the fact that he initially put up $50 million and it's worth, what did the Baltimore Orioles just sold for $1.7 billion? Yeah. The Rays are worth at least that, especially with a new, stadium, wherever it's going to be built. So the dude has more than enough money to go out and spend on players. He just chooses not to. And the why he's never held accountable for that in the Times makes no sense to me. Maybe has something to do with where the team plays, but who knows? It's if you're a Rays fan, I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for you because while everybody else, the Yankees are going out and signing Soto and everybody else and making trades and everybody's doing business in the division, they're doing nothing. And they're going to say, well, we don't have our big horses, so we're not going to go out and spend any money this year. We'll hold it till next year. It's a bunch. Don't believe it. It's a ridiculous narrative. They have plenty of money. This is all about the owner just wanting to keep it. So there we did the Rays talk. How's that? Is that good?
That's good. That's good enough. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what else you can say. They're not spending money, and it's been proven that you've got to spend money in order to win a World Series. There hasn't. I keep on going back to this.
Just in.
Yeah.
It's just in.
2003 Marlins. That's the last time a team won a World Series with 15 or below. That's it.
When they're 15 or below on payroll.
You're so once again, we'll be about analytics, and yet you don't even
Yeah, but we got
90 wins, and we got 99 wins, and no World Series wins at all. How many years you won the?
We got Johnny DeLuca though. Ryan Pepio.
DeLuca
for Tyler Glasnow. Yeah, Johnny DeLuca. All right, let's talk about something really fun. My good friend David Kahn joining me now from Bespoke & Company, the man who dresses the stars. Have a big event coming up on Friday night. We'll see some of the big name players there. Mike Evans might be there and some of the others. What's up, David? How are you?
Hey, good, JP. How are you? Hey, I have it that talk about stars. Brad Pitt is up to play Stu in his biography. I think I heard something like that.
Moneyball 2? Moneyball 2. Yeah. How to really make some money and fool everybody. Yeah.
Well, the thing about that movie that's so sad is that first, the Pitt character, he can never realize, or Billy Bean can never realize his own talent. So he turns down $12.5 million to go to the Boston Red Sox, actually have all the unlimited resources, and stays in a dump like Oakland, and eventually Oakland's never winning a World Series.
Bad idea.
I don't know why people like that movie so much. It just like, yeah, they compete. Yeah, they did this and did that, but they never won a World Series. There's a limit on the money ball, just like here in Tampa.
I like it because they highlight Billy Koch, and I played golf with him one time, and he's a crazy dude, but a lot of fun. So
speaking of a lot of fun, we got your event coming up on Friday night. Tell us a little bit about it and how people can get involved.
Certainly. So it started out as a little bourbon tasting event back in 2015, and
I remember
doubling every year, and now has turned into a 500 people plus event. And we do this with the American Cancer Society. So although they're a national charity, they have a local presence here. They actually have a residence on Moffitt's campus called the Hope Lodge, and they offer free lodging for patients and their families that can't afford
That's awesome.
to stay in a hotel for 2 months while their kids getting cancer treatment. So it's a pretty cool event. We have added a fashion show to this. So like JP was saying,
I love this part.
A bunch of our your favorite Buccaneers clients, talk about former Rays being traded. Kevin Kiermaier, good friend, is going to be modeling. So a lot of familiar faces and some other local favorites that you'll definitely recognize.
Kevin, speaking of the Rays, Kevin Kiermaier, who's loving it in Toronto, right? He is having a blast. I talked to him, saw you with him a couple weeks ago at the hockey game. He's loving it.
He is loving it. And another Golden Glove to boot.
Yeah, that's right. And tell us a little bit about, because people want to know how you dress these guys. Like you got John Cooper, a lot of the Lightning players, a lot of the Bucs players. What are they into? Tell us.
So, I tend to be a little bit more traditional with a twist, but we have fun and funky stuff too. But like the Lightning guys, you see them coming into, to the arena, and it's definitely much more contemporary stuff. So, I work with each of my clients, whether they're a celebrity athlete or just a regular business professional. And we establish the needs. I have an understanding of who their audience is, what their targets are, what their needs are, and we address that client by client.
What's the funkiest stuff you've done for some of your clients that we know?
I did do one tearaway suit for a relatively high profile attorney in town that will go nameless. So that would be the most fun and funky.
Why would you need a tearaway suit?
Well, I don't know.
All right, that's the part where
you've seen Magic Mike, right? You never know.
All right, I might need one of those. Yeah. I got a wedding coming up. I might need one of those. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just be careful on the dance floor.
Yeah, that could be a problem, right?
Right. Definitely.
So tell us about the event, how people can get tickets, where it's at, all that good stuff.
Certainly. So it's from 6:30 to 11 this Friday, the 2nd, Groundhog's Day. It's at Armature Works. Again, it benefits the American Cancer Society, and there is a website. It's bespokeandcoacs.org, and you can go there. That's bespokeandcoacs.org, and you can go and get tickets. You can still buy sponsorships, and if you just want to make a donation, there's a chance there too. So we'll have like your typical charity event style. What's that?
Yeah. Diamonds
the theme
is the theme.
Yeah, diamonds are forever. Cancer doesn't have to be. So we align ourselves with a traditional Bond style event because we do Bond so well, and it's a great clothing theme. So you'll see some diamonds. We've got a beautiful diamond necklace in an auction, and amongst some other great sports auction items and memorabilia. Mike Evans signed a ball for me, and we're putting together a nice Buccaneers package as in addition to a few other things. So it'll definitely be. It's a great night. I'm stuck in 80s alternative is my genre for music, and we have a great band out of Atlanta, Electric Avenue. They're amazing. They're coming down. So it's going to be a great night. A lot of fun.
It's 80s music. Everybody gets dressed up. The stars are all out. Armature Works. It's going to be fun. I'll put the link on all my socials so people can get to it. Looking forward to it. Going to be a lot of fun, Dave. Appreciate you coming on.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, JP.
Yeah, thanks for being a great part of the community and giving back. We really appreciate all that. You guys
always
do a
my
great
pleasure.
Job. Bespoke and Company. And by the way, if you're looking for a suit, there's nothing better than custom made. Trust me, David's done a bunch of my suits, and it's like putting one on off the rack compared to having one made for you. There is no comparison.
Game changer.
It's a game changer. And if you think it's $10,000, it's not. Trust me. You different levels of stuff, so it's not that much more expensive. So trust me, it's worth it. They last a lot longer, all that good stuff. So I couldn't give you a higher endorsement. It's great.
Well,
great
I appreciate
stuff and
that.
well worth
Thank
it.
you.
Thanks, David. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Yep. All right. So we got a fundraiser coming up Friday night. We got the Bolts on a 10-day break, which is killing me, by the way. I need some hockey in my life.
What do you do with all that time to yourself?
I go to fundraisers.
Well, there you go. And dress in custom
suits. Drunk at fundraisers. Yeah, absolutely.
With your tearaway suit.
My tearaway suit. Yes, I'll need for that. Wouldn't that be great for the wedding? You may kiss the bride. Whoosh. Get the kiss and then rip the suit off. Yeah,
just jump right to it, right?
Yeah,
right. There you go.
Make a great TikTok reel.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right, great job, Peter. Appreciate you. Greg Auman joined us. Big thanks to him. If you missed anything, you can always go back and listen to this as a podcast each and every day on Apple and Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, on YouTube as well. Please subscribe to our YouTube page so we can make more money. Go to our link tree if you'd like to donate to the cause. If you love the show, drop us a few bucks. We always appreciate that. Of course, watch it right here on Twitter and Facebook every day, Monday through Friday, 10 to 12. We'll be here. Great job, Peter. We'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great day.